Am I the asshole for not wanting to change my first dance song because of my stepsister's association with it? Pretty much what the title says, so I'm going to keep it quick. We've chosen our first dance song. My stepsister is not at all happy because she and her ex-husband also had this at their wedding, and she said she has a lot of memories with this particular song. She asked if I could change it. I told her I get it, but this is what we want, and I don't want to change it. She said she understood, but she's been acting different around me and I could tell she was mad, upset. Most people who know about this don't think I'm doing anything wrong, but I had my sister and one of my friends tell me I'm being selfish and not understanding here. Am I the asshole? And #X200B. And #X200B. Some people are asking to edit in my comments, so here they are. Yes. A few months after they got married he was in a wreck. He thankfully survived but has a very severe TBI, among other things. He lives in a specialized nursing home. They did get divorced, but my sister still goes on about how she loves him and visits him occasionally. He doesn't remember who she is most of the time, but my sister said she apparently sang this song to him and he looks like he remembers her words. Come what may, from the movie Moulin Rouge. My sister sees it as their song. She and her ex first met at the movies when they both went to watch it. Then apparently the restaurant they went to for their first date was also playing it, so they took it as a sign. And as I said, they also played it at their wedding. She also sings it to him sometimes now. I think it's a really nice song and I'd like to play it too. I don't want to have to change it. How did the ex become an ex and how recently did that happen? Edit. I knew there was something missing. You are the asshole massively. This is not just a case of him being an ex. Supporting comment. Edit again to add a link to the fantastic comment from you, Squirrel Girl VA. You are the asshole for leaving out the detail where her husband had a traumatic brain injury and doesn't recognize her anymore. Under the circumstance, it seems you're purposely trying to hurt her. Do you hate her? Holy shit, I had to scroll to find the buried lead, but you are the asshole 100%. You have zero attachment to a song that symbolizes your stepsister's love. The fact that it's the only thing that gets the love of her life to even remember her makes it so much worse. You heard it at her wedding as her first dance song and decided to copy it. Yes, it's your wedding and yes, she doesn't own the song, but the fact that it's associated with her severely injured ex, where one of their last happy memories was dancing to that song, and he doesn't remember her but still remembers that moment, makes you a total awe. Find another song if you want to keep your stepsister in your life. I would never talk to you again if you didn't change it. There are thousands of other songs that sound nice. Pick one of those. You are the asshole. Why would you want to use the song of a divorced couple that you know? You say yourself the song isn't actually important to you, but you outline how it is to her. This is weird. ETA. This is even weirder now that I read your comment about how he's suffering from a TBI and she sings to him to get him to remember her. This is borderline creepy. Have you told your fiancé about this association to the song? Do you even like your stepsister? Yeah, you can use any song you want, but in this circumstance it seems oddly targeted. This also seems like it would take away from your day and your fiancé while also making your stepsister and potentially other family members uncomfortable. You are the asshole. You left out this part from your op, which completely changes the gravity of your stepsister's story. You couldn't be any more cruel. If I was your stepsister, I wouldn't come to your wedding and would cut all contact with you. A few months after they got married he was in a wreck. He thankfully survived but has a very severe TBI, among other things. He lives in a specialized nursing home. They did get divorced, but my sister still goes on about how she loves him and visits him occasionally. He doesn't remember who she is most of the time, but my sister said she apparently sang this song to him and he looks like he remembers her words. Am I the asshole for telling my mom's husband he has earned his place in the shadows at my wedding? BG. My mom had me with my bio donor, otherwise known as bio father, but he bailed before I was even born. My mom's best friend Locke stepped up and told her he would be my dad. And he's been my dad ever since I was born. Mom and dad were never together, always just friends, since my dad is gay, but it just worked. When I was 7 my mom met her husband Matt, and ever since he and my mom got serious I have known he has issues with my dad. It started out slight enough. He would tell people dad was my wife's friend, and not that he was my dad. He also didn't correct anyone who wrongly assumed he was my dad. But then he asked me to spend Father's Day with him instead of my dad. It wasn't pushed exactly, but the tone was he's not your dad but I could be kind of thing. Then my mom was in an accident when I was 9 and he tried to argue that I should stay with him instead of with my dad, even though legally, my dad was listed on my birth certificate and had legal rights to me in custody. It hurt my dad's relationship with mom a bit, and it meant Matt was always to me someone who was trying to interfere where he didn't belong. My teens were rough with stuff. But the final blow came when Matt showed up to a father-daughter event for Father's Day that I had not invited him to and that I was attending with my dad, and attempted to get my dad to leave. Then told him he was not married to mom nor was he my bio dad and he should have stepped aside so I could have a normal family. My mom and Matt are invited to my wedding. But he is nothing more than a guest and she's not much either. Matt objected to this. He offered to pay, which I rejected, and then he told me he was in the shadows of my wedding and it wasn't fair. I told him he had earned his place in the shadows and he wasn't important enough for me to invite really, but mom had sort of made up for staying with him so he was going as a courtesy to her and nothing else. He called me an ungrateful brat and said I shouldn't be so rude to him. I know what I said was cold, so I ask, am I the asshole? Ungrateful for what? He did everything he could to drive a wedge between you and your father and tried to force you to be something you did not want. Given his history, showing up at an event to cosplay father, you should uninvite him and tell your mom that you don't trust him not to cause a scene at your wedding. Not the asshole. Not the asshole, and in fact, I'd rescind the invitation if I were you, or at least tell him it's on the table if he's going to continue to belittle you and your father. I'd also have some security at the wedding. A couple of your husband-to-be's groomsmen or something, ready to remove him if he tries to disrupt the wedding or take your father's place. Oh honey, this man crashed a father-daughter event and caused a scene. And you seriously think he's going to get all dressed up for your wedding and stay in the shadows like Batman? Laughing my ass off, he's absolutely going to throw a tantrum. But will it be when someone else walks you down the aisle? Or when you do a father-daughter dance with dad? Or when close friends and family do toasts and speeches? How exciting. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Make it clear that you expect Matt to stay in his lane, and maybe depending on the venue, have security or beefy friends ready to evict him in the event of a scene. Matt's the asshole, with a stink eye at mom for not shooting him down. Not the asshole. He wanted you to be his daughter but tried to get that by removing your dad instead of treating you like a daughter and letting the relationship develop. Am I the asshole for not letting my miracle baby niece be my flower girl at my wedding? My 27F older brother and Sil, both mid-30s, just welcomed their first child a year and a half ago, after years of trying. After many failed attempts, Sil was told that she wouldn't be able to conceive due to a medical condition she has. They finally got pregnant. Since having my niece, the baby has been the center of attention at every family even we've had since she was born. Birthdays, weddings, family get-togethers, you name it. Now don't get me wrong, I love my niece, but it can get to be a little too much when my Sil goes on and on about how long they tried to conceive, complications they've had, miscarriages they've had, etc. Like a little too much info. Many family members have commented on how it's a little bit excessive, but no one has said anything because they don't want to sound like an awe. Anyway, I'm getting married in the spring and my brother and Sil approached me last weekend about having my niece be the flower girl. Now my fiancé, 35M, has 2 children, 10M and 6F, from his previous marriage. His son is one of his groomsmen while his daughter had asked to be our flower girl when we told them the news that we were getting married a year ago, as it's something she always wanted to do, so of course we said yes. So I explained this to my Sil when she asked me about my niece. She asked if my stepdaughter can just carry my niece with her? I said I don't think she'd be comfortable with that considering she's 6. She then asked why I can't give that role to my niece, and allow herself to carry my niece down as the flower girl. I said no because I already promised my stepdaughter. She then started going off about how my lack of effort to incorporate my niece is disgusting to her. I should honor her in some way since I know how long and hard they tried for my niece. Now I may sound like an asshole for this, but I kind of got fed up and snapped and said, incorporate my niece how? By the time the wedding comes around she'll be 2 years old. The entire family already knows your story about how long and hard you guys tried for her. What more do you expect me to do to honor her? She started crying and said that clearly I don't love my one and only niece and I'm letting her down. I said of course I love my niece, and obviously she's going to be involved in pictures and stuff. But I'm not going to let my stepdaughter down by giving my niece a role she's too young to remember anyway. Well, now Sil and my brother are pissed off with me for not letting my niece be flower girl, and are running around telling the rest of the family I don't love my niece. My mom had been trying to stay neutral but thinks my stepdaughter would understand if I explained to her I need to give that role to my niece. I'm firm in my decision though, and my fiancé is thankful that I didn't let his daughter down. Am I the asshole for not allowing my niece to be the flower girl? Not the asshole. Let them be pissed. If ever there was a time to take a stand for your stepdaughter, it is now. Without knowing her story, or how she came to be part of your life. She's 6 years old, and you've made a commitment to be in her life. The moment you make it official revolves around her as much as it does you. You absolutely have every right to honor the stepdaughter over the niece, and these first moments as stepmom are going to cause the ripple that forms the pond that is your relationship for her whole life. Trust me, if you back down now, and give her spot away, it's going to ruin more than just your wedding. ETA thanks for all the upvotes. I never expected all that smiling face with hearts. OMG thank you for the awards. Star struck. Not the asshole. She's their miracle baby, not yours. The fact that they want you to disappoint you soon-to-be stepdaughter, in order to make their daughter the focus of your wedding is absurd. Not the asshole. Your wedding, your choice. Your Sil is lucky you didn't say, no children under X age, because that is becoming super popular. Not the asshole. Do not, for the love of all things holy, let your niece be flower girl. Your Sil needs to learn that her kid is not more important to you than your soon-to-be stepchildren. You are taking on a big role in the lives of these children and they have to know that you are going to stick up for them. This is the hill and if you need to die on it with your Sil then so be it. Not the asshole. If they don't understand why breaking a promise to your future stepdaughter is a bigger issue than letting your sister carry her toddler down the aisle, they're self-centered jerks. Point out this as you making sure your stepchildren are welcome and feel like they belong. Put your foot down hard on this bullshit. Your niece is not more important than your stepdaughter to you. Any more than your stepdaughter would not be more important than your niece to her. Am I the asshole for uninviting my Mill from my wedding after she tried to sabotage my wedding dress? My future Mill has never been a fan of me, 26F, for the entire duration of mine and my fiancé's, 29M, relationship. I'm honestly not sure why it is that she's always disliked me and been cold to me, but after multiple attempts over the years to build some type of relationship with her, we've been together for 4 years, nothing has worked. She couldn't give two shits about me up until the wedding planning started a few months ago. My fiancé and I are paying for majority of the wedding ourselves, while my dad and stepmom are financially contributing as well. Mill and Phil have not contributed at all, but Mill is giving her opinion on things as if she's footing the bill. You should make the themes this color, make sure you have this dish on the menu to be served. Don't do an open bar, you don't want people being too rowdy. Make sure me, my sister and cousin are sitting front row at the wedding ceremony, etc. etc. My fiancé and I are absolutely sick of this. Every time she tries to give an opinion we politely shut it down and tell her we have it under control, but she just never gets the hint. Before she became such a nightmare I regretfully invited her to come dress shopping, because I didn't want her to feel left out. While a few weeks ago we went dress shopping, my mom and close friends came too. And I found my dream wedding dress. I have a curvy hourglass figure, and I found a dress that shows off my figure perfectly and makes me feel gorgeous. The dress is kind of revealing, low cut on the chest, and mermaid style, but it's nothing I'd be ashamed of my family and friends seeing me in. My Mill on the other have hated the dress I chose. She made sure to express that to me multiple times. She even went as far as to say, "This is a wedding, not a strip club, I don't like it." Well, I bought the dress anyway since I'm the one paying for it after all. Last night my fiancé and I are cleaning up after dinner and I received a call from the shop I ordered my dress from. They were calling me concerned because apparently a lady, my Mill, called then pretending to be me and wanted to switch the dress I chose to a more appropriate dress. The sales associate realized that it wasn't my phone number that called to make the change, and called me immediately to confirm before they changed the order. I was livid. My fiancé heard the entire conversation and was livid as well. He called his mom to confront her and she fessed up, after denying it a few times. I told her if she's so bothered by my dress to consider herself uninvited from the wedding and hung up on her. Safe to say she is not happy. She's been calling both my husband and I non-stop trying to defend herself, but I've had enough. I feel bad for my fiancé because he won't get to have his planned dance with her. Did I take it too far? Am I the asshole? Not the asshole, I would have done the same thing. But you and your fiancé need to be in lockstep on this. So if he starts hedging, don't go through with the wedding until you are both on the same page. You need to get these boundaries in place now because Mill will be a nightmare if you have kids if you don't. Not the asshole. Nope nope nope. If she's doing this before the wedding, what will she do at the wedding? Not the asshole. Your fiancé needs to step in and rein in his mom. This is the easiest not the asshole ever. 1. This isn't her wedding. 2. She isn't paying for anything, let alone the dress. 3. She seems like a confrontational person to begin with. Time to have fun at your wedding without having to worry about her ruining it and being there. Not the asshole. An important lesson learned: your fiancé is willing to stand up to his mother to defend you. Keep an eye on how he acts and reacts as this continues. While it would be asshole to set up something like this to test him, it is a test of your relationship and interactions, and it is entirely appropriate to use it as a moment to get a glimpse of what your future together may be.